Our hats off to the homemakers. The modern conveniences of today were not her lot. She cooked over a hot wood stove in an old iron pot. She washed, she ironed, she cooked, she sewed. Yes, her lot in life was a heavy load. She was not one reigned on by fame or glory, although she sometimes dreamed of being Cinderella, as in the children's story. Now, there were many who contended that she was willing to accept her fate of housekeeper, cook, and general helpmate. But down in her soul, this was not true. She longed for a way to express herself to, because within her, from the beginning of creation, lay the seed that could develop into a leader of a country, state, or nation. But for decades, the rural farm woman felt herself isolated, and but for those chosen few, remained uneducated. One of the first laws that helped change this fact came in 1862 with the passage of the Morrill Act. Now, the Morrill Act didn't, don't you understand, established land grant colleges throughout this land. As the colleges were established, the farmers got educational opportunities to better their lot, and to a greater degree there heretofore, to the women, the colleges began to open their doors. This law did not bring the education of women to perfection, but at least it was a step in the right direction. For rural farm women to achieve much progress would require more than a generation, but at least this law gave impetus to coeducation. Not too much later, Congress signed another pact, which we know today as the Hatch Act. The purpose of this act, as I understand, was to put experiment stations throughout the land, to seek new agriculture techniques to be taught in college, to add to our dwindling pool of knowledge, to allow agricultural production to make great gains, to make rural farm life just a little more bearable and less mundane. Now, these experiment stations discovered and published far more than a decade or two, and it's certainly true they had a value and charm, but the needed information wasn't getting out to the men and women living on the farm. Some of them educators would just sit around and pout and say, they ain't reading them bulletins we've been sending out. And in spite of all of our forces, they just won't come out to listen to our short courses. There soon appeared on the scene two men with one accord in 1914, year of our Lord. Each of them declared, in our agricultural system I am a believer. They went by the name of Smith and Lever. They said there are country people out there that are living in strife, and we've got the information that will provide them a better way of life. Yes, Congressman Lever said, on a new course we need to embark. And then he made a historical remark. We've helped the farm man better to plow. We've helped him with horses, hogs, and his old milk cow. Yeah, we helped him for over 4 decades and a quarter. But we ain't done much for his wife and daughter. We've concentrated on helping the men. We've done so little for the women, it's undoubtedly a sin. So Smith and Lever went out and made it a fact and got through Congress the Smith-Lever Act. Through this act, they hoped many people to touch. The purpose of this act was stated as such: to aid in diffusing among the people of the U.S. useful and practical information on subjects related to agriculture and home economics, and to encourage the application of the same. Here, home economic education was made a matter of fact because it was an integral part of the Smith-Lever Act. The changing social patterns which provided women more self-esteem by giving them a prominent place in the education theme. After the Smith-Lever Act, that, and for generations would stand, extension programs began to spread throughout the land. Home agents were sent without much bounty to diffuse technology out into every county. The home economics program that started as the hub was the home agent working with young girls through the canning clubs. They canned corn, peas, tomatoes and beans, cucumber pickles and turnip greens. They peeled and cored apples and put them out to dry to make them cakes and dried apple pies. How to raise poultry and to make better bread. And how to keep bed bugs out of the bed. Yes, the home preservation of food was the first to be taught. The home agent through the county proclaiming this thought: a garden and a cow, a smokehouse and a sow, 25 hens and a rooster, and you'll be better off than you used to. As time moved on, year after year, there were new programs that began to appear. Yes, there was the canning, clothing, food and nutrition, cooking, sewing, health and sanitation. But the world moved on, and I'm sure you won't think it strange when I say to you, rural America did change. As the world did change, extension programs began to enlarge in size, and the rural homemakers began to organize. No, there wasn't any way to hold them down. Home demonstration clubs expanded to the cities and towns. Yet from their efforts, great accomplishments would stem as the homemakers focused on the community about them. Yes, laborious and long hours the homemakers have spent to improve the rural standard of living and community betterment. Yes, they've pledged throughout their lifespan to be there and help wherever they can. Down through the history, the homemakers have shined their lights and advanced victory gardens, food for freedom, and human rights, fighting inflation, food and nutrition, clothing and energy conservation, TB testing, cancer clinics, and immunization for the young. These are all songs that the homemakers have sung. They promoted the family and home through the storms of weather, the fiber that holds our society together. Ah, yes, the homemakers programs have helped women equip for volunteer leaders and community leadership. We could talk on and the gamut would run, but these are but a few things that homemakers have done. These programs have helped the homemaker throughout her life to become a better citizen, mother, and wife. And more than that, they helped her fulfill a dream of having her own identity, worth, and self-esteem.